following is an exclusive presentation of News Radio KMAN, your home for K-State athletics. It's game time. This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
Major League Baseball giving me a ruling today that I'm very happy to see. They say that robot umpires not likely to happen in 2025. I think it should happen never. I might go on a rant here in a second about all that. But welcome to the game. Mitch Fortner and AJ Shaw with you for a couple of hours. No Royals baseball today. And, of course, earlier today, the Cats running the Big 12 tournament ends today. Their two losses, both upsets. 9-seed TCU gets them as the Cats fall 9-4. It's just, man, baseball. I wasn't feeling too good about the West Virginia game. Derek Clark doesn't pitch. Cats get a whole bunch of walks, which helps them out, and they win 8-4. And then Jackson Wentworth starts. Maybe he was out there a little bit too long. I did not get to watch the first three innings, so I can't be the true judge of that. But K-State's that offense just didn't get as many walks and couldn't come up with the big hits they were looking for. Got a couple. Got a little interesting, a little bit there in the later innings. But TCU was just too good early in that game, and the Horned Frogs win 9-4. So we'll definitely talk some Batcats here in just a few moments. Coming up in hour number 2, we are going to revisit one of the biggest tragedies in sports and entertainment history. It was 25 years ago today. AJ wants to talk about Adrian Martinez. I'm certainly down to talk a little Adrian Martinez as he is tearing it up in the UFL. Get a little K-State football talk in this first hour as well. Back to the umpire thing for just a moment. AJ, you showed me this story earlier today from the Associated Press and about how Major League Baseball says robot home plate umpires are unlikely for 2025, and I hope they never happen. And it's for a pretty specific reason. First of all, and I said this earlier this week, sports needs a little bit of human error once in a while. Keep things interesting. It can't be too perfect. I don't want it being close to perfect. You need the controversy. You need the referee/umpire controversy. It keeps the people entertained in a good or a bad way. It's like wrestling. There could be the greatest match going on in the ring, but the people aren't making noise and reacting. It just doesn't hit as strong. Games are way more entertaining when big plays happen or when big things happen. You get a lot of reaction to it.
And you also made the point that typically baseball fans like to lament on Angel Hernandez, and that's something to talk about.
It's entertaining. It really is.
Yep.
Help me out.
Angel Hernandez.
Angel Hernandez. Him and his poor judgment of the strike zone, bad calls on the bases. I love every second of it. I don't think it hurts the game.
I think you're the one person in baseball that thinks that way, because most people disagree. They think Angel Hernandez is destroying the game.
As a person that is, like I've said, I'm the biggest Royals fan, but he's never at Royals games. It will be, of course, once in a while, but very rarely does, as with the rotating umpires all the time, going to particular locations, you're more often than not to not run into him as a home plate umpire. Mm-hmm. It depends on where you're at in the rotation. I've never been to an Angel Hernandez game.
He got booed, which is rare because typically when they announce the umpires before the game, the fans really don't pay much attention to it. I mean, Joe Schmo's the umpire. Okay, who cares? But when he gets announced, the entire building is going, boo!
Half of being a sports fan is complaining.
Mm-hmm. It's the American way, as I said yesterday.
It would be so different. It wouldn't be as exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Where's your scapegoat if your team's not doing well? Especially with baseball. I mean, who was it 5 or 6 years ago for the Mets? Terry Collins?
Yeah.
Is he the one that had that rant that just went viral?
Yes, that was Terry Collins.
Our ass is in the jackpot.
Mm-hmm.
That great line.
Yeah. With Tom Hallion.
What are we going to do if we don't have a home plate umpire making these calls or making these ejections, but you got a robot back there calling some balls and strikes, you know?
It takes the fun out of the game for sure, especially in baseball, which is the one sport where you can jump off the bench and get in another guy's face and just lay into him.
Yeah. I want managers chirping at the umpire about balls and strikes.
I like it.
I do.
Agree.
I want that in baseball. And I may be in the minority, but I like a little bit of controversy.
I think you're in the majority on that opinion.
Umpires are still more often right than they're not.
Uh-huh.
But occasionally there's some human error, and let it play out.
It's crazy how efficient they are in comparison to, because I watched this video one time of these guys just, these were just, amateurs. They were just having fun, and they got like 70% of the calls right. Umpires on average are getting 93, 94% of the calls per game right, which is insane.
And are you going to tell me that a robot is going to deliver on a called strike 3?
No. The robot's going to show no emotion.
I love an energetic called strike 3 or a strike call. And when the fans are not liking the strike zone, not liking the balls and strikes, a call at the plate, you want the reaction.
Yes.
You want them chirping at the umpires.
You're going to get at least once a game where the fans get upset with an umpire or a referee or an official. That's just part of the game. It's fun.
And I'll admit, sometimes it does get out of hand. And when I'm at K-State baseball games and there's some complaints about the strike zone, there are certainly times when the fans are wrong. And am I laughing at you sometimes? Of course, because it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's entertaining. Those guys, like I said, it does get a little out of hand sometimes.
Yes.
There are some Big 12 umpires certainly known for a pretty rough strike zone, an inconsistent strike zone. But to me, that's a part of the game.
Yes.
It's a part of the sport.
Mm-hmm.
I think you take a lot of the entertainment value if you were to take away a home plate umpire. The potential, for a great environment and entertainment.
So you say you really like the controversy. So when the replacement refs were a thing back in 2012, you were probably loving every second of that.
Well,
the Phil Mary.
I did love the Seahawks Green Bay Packers game where one goes touchdown, one goes, what was it, incomplete or something like that?
One was interception, the other goes touchdown.
That's right. That's right. Yep, I remember that. I loved it so much that I was a replacement referee for Halloween that year. That is not a joke.
That's pretty good, man.
Because I think I was in college and a friend of mine did the same thing.
Yeah.
We wore referee shirts and then just I think our shirts had pockets on them, and just above the pocket we had a piece of tape that said replacement.
I'd love to see that photo if you still have it.
There is. I don't think there is a photo, but no, that really
funny.
did happen.
That's funny.
Batcats earlier today, they do lose to the TCU Horned Frogs. Final score 9-4. So K-State's run is now done in the Big 12 tournament, and of course leaves the question now. That is, does K-State get into the tournament? I am watching some of these bubble teams. Remember last year? Yes, I still feel like K-State was hosed, especially when Oklahoma got in over K-State. K-State swept Oklahoma. K-State had a better, if I remember right, conference record than Oklahoma did. But Oklahoma was one spot better, if I remember correctly. Oklahoma was one spot better last year. There were a bunch of upsets and some stolen bids last year, which didn't help K-State being firmly on the bubble. And then K-State ends up being the second team left out of the NCAA tournament. I do have a different feeling. I do feel like K-State's in, but I'm going to continue to survey and continue to watch. If you look at all the bracketology for college baseball, which is smarter than me when it comes to covering all of these teams, it's not like I'm watching what UNC Wilmington is up to. But I know they're a bubble team. there are a number of teams to watch, but you're just hoping, all right, hopefully these bubble teams, they win a game, great. Just keep it at 1. You're okay with that. Limit the stolen bids, especially if it is already a team from a league that's already going to get into the tournament anyway. You would hope they win their conference tournament. Georgia Tech dropping 2 early, pretty big. Northeastern is kind of a love-hate one there because K-State did beat Northeastern. They go 0-2, but it didn't really hurt K-State in their RPI. UNC Wilmington, who I just mentioned, they haven't played yet. They're also in the CAA like Northeastern, so they're ones to watch. Xavier beat UConn, and that was a pretty big win for Xavier. They're a bubble team. Their RPI is 40 thanks to that win, so they do jump K-State. James Madison, Troy, Cincinnati, and KU. Cincinnati and KU are 2 teams to watch, and KU is playing, as a matter of fact, right now. And they're in, looks like the top of the 8th. Let me get this update here. They were winning, but now they're top of the 9th, rather. Oklahoma leads 7-4. Oklahoma, the 1 seed, they won the Big 12. KU, the 7. This would be their first loss, so they would go to, let's see. How would it
be the losers game tomorrow?
I think that's what so it would be, yeah. So, yes. So it would be TCU KU if KU were to lose. They're down 3. KU does have 2 men on with nobody out in scoring position. So let's see what happens here. KU still has 3 outs to work with. You hate to see it, honestly. But they would move to the losers game with TCU, and then the winner of that game would play, basically would go into a doubleheader. I think that's how it works. It's kind of confusing with the double elimination. I got the bracket right here.
I believe you're correct when you say that.
So TCU moves on to tomorrow. Yeah, so the winner of this game will move on to the Friday game. Okay, yeah, so maybe that would be the only, I don't know, because it's double elimination, but it's kind of confusing. So anyway, it doesn't matter.
You mentioned Cincinnati. I believe they won their first 2 games. They looked pretty good in the first 2 games from what I saw from a distance. And they're a pretty good baseball team.
Cincinnati, I do believe, is playing in a elimination game today. They won their first actually, I think they lost their first game, then won their second. Mm-hmm. So they're in another elimination game today. That'll be against Texas Tech. Cincinnati getting out of the way.
Boy, OU 7 errors today.
Oh wow, I didn't notice that.
And yet they're still going to possibly win this game.
7 they have 14 hits. That's the thing. KU doesn't have very many hits.
KU's left 11 on base, and that's probably, if they end up losing this game, that's going to be the thing that they're going to be kicking themselves over.
Oh wow, I got to look and see how many of their runs are earned. None of the runs are earned.
Oh boy.
So they were gifted 4 runs pretty early in the game in the first 4 innings by Witherspoon, Oklahoma's pitcher. He was charged with 4 unearned runs, so Oklahoma was really kicking it around earlier.
Yeah, all the runs scored, pretty much all the runs scored via an error. The last run they scored, there was an error on the play, but the score was not because of an error. That's crazy, though.
We'll get to more of what we feel like where the committee's head is at right now, K-State's status. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But I do have a couple of reactions to today's game where K-State did lose 9-4 to TCU. K-State had 8 hits. I do believe that's a tournament high, but TCU had 14. K-State, again, just didn't have enough clutch hits. They had opportunities, just didn't have enough clutch hits. A couple of things I thought was very interesting, actually. Nick English was, after going 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts, and he's had a rough week. Had a hit yesterday, I believe, but just a rough day, rough week. But Kyan Lotus comes in, he goes 0 for 2. I was surprised by that change because Nick English has been like the clutch hitter for K-State, especially in the second half of the season where he did it twice against KU. And maybe there was some motivation there, like he was extra checked in. I know he was nervous on one of those hits because he said that he was, but his brother is at home plate as the catcher.
Older brother, too.
Yeah, so maybe a little bit more pumped up there. But Nick, more than twice this year, has come up with a very clutch hit. So I was a little thrown off by that change. Mm-hmm. But what was very interesting earlier today was Chuck Ingram was benched.
Yeah, which was probably Pete Hughes saying, look, we love you, but you're not coming through for us right now, and we need to put somebody in there that we feel is going to give us a better opportunity to win.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like, really, anybody behind Chuck Ingram has extremely little experience.
Yes.
Because it was Caden Carl. Caden Carl entered today without a hit in his career.
Yeah.
He didn't play all last year, and he's been a substitute, ninth inning substitute or a pinch runner. He's got some really
hadn't even
solid
heard
speed.
of the guy before today.
And, yeah, he got his first career hit today.
Mm-hmm.
That's who replaced the benching of Chuck Ingram.
You have to think he's probably in their doghouse right now.
It's amazing how we got to that point, though.
Yeah.
I understand, like, doing it now is certainly interesting, but I understand making the move. I really do. The timing of it, I kind of understand it as well. You need the win. You got to try to do something, and Chuck is, for the whole second half of the season, hasn't been the guy to get you a hit.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Who's been batting under 160 the last, 29, I think maybe now 30 games, under 160. So
now 7-5, by the way.
Yeah, a bit of a shocker, really, that Caden Carl got the nod in place of Chuck Ingram today, who ended up, I believe, coming in as a pinch hitter, and he goes 0 for 1 later on in the game. But he had started every game, played in every game. I think he maybe come out once or twice in a blowout as a somebody coming in as a defensive substitution or hold on a second. Had a cough there for a second, but either a defensive substitution or a pinch hitter or a pinch runner.
Mm-hmm.
So K-State may get in, and I think they will, but they don't really have any momentum. And that's the bummer about the way this season has gone. We'll talk more Batcats a little bit, but let's take a break. You're listening to The Game. I feel like it'd be rude if I interrupted the song.
1999 by Prince. By the way, I just wanted to mention Oklahoma beats KU 7-5. So they are moving on to tomorrow. Both teams moving on tomorrow, but OU wins. Turn it up.
Play it. Just might as well. You might as well, yeah. This is Troy's boy here. Troy will be back with us on Tuesday. This will be our penultimate show before Troy does return. 3 weeks without the guy.
Feels like forever.
Yeah, appreciate AJ putting in a little extra work around here, especially here on the show. He's been with me all week, which is pretty awesome.
I know I'm not as great as Troy, but I hope I fulfilled that vacancy fine.
Well, soon we're going to find out who's smarter. With a little Stump the Shaw next week.
Troy's smarter than I am.
I don't have any Stump the Shaw questions planned for you or anything. Nothing impromptu, but you never know what we might, what kind of shenanigans we might get into once in a while. Hour number 2, we'll look at back on this day 25 years ago was one of the biggest, one of the saddest tragedies in sports and entertainment history that was just right down the road. And I remember it like it was yesterday. We'll take a look back at that incident. Excuse me. Nothing like it happened right at the end of the segment. Nothing like, you're live on the radio, and all of a sudden you feel that tickle in the throat, and you really got a cough. It is the worst.
I've had that happen so many times. Not even kidding, man.
Are you joking around?
No, I'm not joking around. That legitimately just happened.
I don't know if I believe you.
Yeah, it's happened so many times. I am not joking with you, I promise.
I hope nothing's going around because this is Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, and you got to go to Wichita tomorrow, my friend.
Going to Wichita tomorrow and Saturday for some track and field coverage. We'll have updates throughout the day tomorrow and Saturday, updating what's going on with our local high school athletes down at State Track and Field and at Cessna Stadium in Wichita. Okay, so Kelly Ford, really enjoy the work from Kelly Ford, college football power rankings and resume rankings. This should come as no surprise. Right now has K-State favored in every single regular season game this year. Yeah, this wasn't the hardest thing to predict here, Kelly Ford. UT Martin, W. I will say the road schedule, and you have a Friday game, you have 6 away games. It's not the ideal schedule. It really isn't. There's only 1 point this season where there are back-to-back home games. And almost all of October, K-State will be on the road. But UT Martin, as we are 100 days away from that game, by the way. 100 days exactly today. We're also 56 days away from college football 25.
How many? 56, you said?
56 days from the video game. 100 days from the actual K-State football season being here.
All right. I'm assuming you've already pre-ordered?
No, I haven't.
Really?
Not really a pre-ordered guy. However, because of one of my subscriptions, I can get 10% off the game.
Gotcha. For a second there, I was like, oh, I see one of those guys that kind of like camps out outside. By the way, this is something I was going to use this as an Ask Us Anything, but you know what? I'll just ask now. Have you ever camped outside for the release of a video game? Camped overnight?
No. Waited in line for 30 minutes before the doors open, yes.
Okay. So you never were I'm going to camp out all night and wait to get in early?
No, you don't have to do that. It's not that in demand. And there's also, like here in town, there's multiple locations to go buy a video game.
I never had to do that either.
And listen, when it comes to me playing the video game, is K-State the favorite to win every game? Absolutely. Because when I fire that thing up, I'm starting a dynasty with Avery Johnson, DJ Giddens, Dylan Edwards.
Jace Brown.
If
he's in the game.
Oh, he's in the game.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
If he's not, get in the game. EA Sports.
Good one.
I don't think anybody from K-State said no. At least I didn't hear of anybody.
I don't know who wouldn't want to be in the game. You get to be in a video game. That's awesome.
Well, some were like, oh, it's only $600. You need to give these student athletes more. And they also get a copy of the video game. Yes, maybe a little bit more, but this also costs EA Sports a lot of money to make. Mm-hmm. A lot of money. Because there's some things they could take from Madden, but other than those very few things, they started from scratch making this game. And that takes years.
Yeah.
This has been years in the making. But I'm going to fire up that Dynasty. Take care. I don't know if FCS teams are in there. Might be one just a random directional type name school, but going to beat them at Tulane. The thing is, it's tricky about these. There's a lot of tricky road games in here. Do I think K-State can win a ton of games this upcoming season? Absolutely. We're 100 days out. But going to BYU, that first game, which I've heard is a very overrated home field advantage. I don't know how overrated that is. It's just something I heard. But it also helps. Oklahoma State comes here. KU comes here. Arizona comes here. I mean, you could argue your 3 toughest games are all at Bill Snyder Family Stadium. Oh, that's a bummer. AJ just showed me that the FCS teams will not be in the game. They should be in the game. I do miss that part of it. The unique stadiums, that would have been really cool. But unfortunately, they will be at some point.
The one thing I don't like about the game is you don't have the PA guys in it. And I understand it would have cost money, but it would have been so cool to hear your voice in that game.
It would have been cool to have me in there. It wouldn't have been cool to have Tulane's guy in there. Who cares? Yeah. Or
you know what I could do? I just come over, I play the game. I'll have you come over to my place. I'll play the game, and I'll just have you PA after every play. How does that sound?
I don't need the gong or the bell going off in Lawrence and hear touchdown Kansas. I do kind of actually like that guy. He's a pretty cool guy. I met him a couple of years ago when I announced for the band there in Lawrence. He's a pretty good guy. We don't need Cincinnati's PA guy in there. We don't need that. Now I know that I think they hired Army's guy to do all the work. Listen, it took 250 hours for Kurt Herbstreit to get all his work done.
Yeah.
I wish I had that kind of time to go do a video game, but
That would be fun, though, man.
I don't know what the money's like, but
That would be
listening.
fun. I'd be going nuts. I'd be like, hey, I know that guy. Really?
It's interesting looking at Kelly Ford because I don't even know who exactly this person is, but I do follow it along once in a while. The chart's not even done crunching the numbers or anything, and this is a lot of people in college football do follow this. It's pretty interesting. At least it's fun to follow along with. Giving K-State a 24% chance of winning 11 games. That's not bad. That's not bad. But like I said, there's some tricky, weird road games. Like, where is Iowa State? And Iowa State's interesting because Iowa State's going to lose probably all their road games this year. But at home, I think they could do a really solid job. But Iowa State's at the end of the year. You're going up there. I mean, where are the Cyclones going to be at that point? I'm not expecting, when K-State rolls in, they're going to be 9-2 or anything like that. I don't think Rocco Becht is that good. I don't think Abu Sama's that good. And TJ Tampa's no longer with Iowa State. They're going to lose a lot of pieces from that defense. How does Matt Campbell respond there? At West Virginia, at Colorado, at BYU. Yeah, there's a lot of weird road games for K-State this year.
The Colorado game will be interesting simply because of you have the rematch of the old rivalry. You got Deion Sanders going up against K-State for the first time. Dylan Edwards is returning. There's a lot of storylines coming into that game, but I'm not viewing the game like a lot of people are. Like Colorado fans, like, oh, we're going to kill them. I honestly just don't view Colorado with that much respect, man.
They may not be the best team in the world like they were last year, but they do have plenty of star power. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter, who's going to play both ways, most likely.
I think is incredible.
They have plenty of face power, as once again they've sold out all their season tickets.
I will say
it's
this:
gonna be a packed house when K-State goes there.
I will say this: I love the fact that they got us playing Iowa State for the last game. That just feels right to play Iowa State in Farmageddon the last week of the regular season. Just feels right.
Yeah, K-State will play them in the last regular season game this year. It'll be the first regular season game the year after that. So this year it'll be Iowa State, then college football, or it'll be Big 12 championship game, college football playoff, college football playoff, college football playoff, national championship, and then right back to Iowa State in Ireland. That's how it's going to play out. Let's see where Kelly Ford has K-State's worst odds. I think it is actually Iowa State. Right now, 55% chance K-State goes into Ames and wins at Iowa State. I take it. Yeah. Absolutely.
Tough game, but they can win there.
It's going to be, this day and age, you're going up in Ames. That late in the season, you expect a close game.
Yes. It's going to be cold, very cold.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, AJ's going to get to share his thoughts on, because he wanted to talk about this yesterday. We're going to talk about it today. Adrian Martinez is crushing it right now in the UFL. That's coming up next. What is this song?
Apologize by One Republic.
I feel like I'm in a medical drama.
That's funny.
Excuse me, I got a cough today, and that stinks. Back on the game, Mitch Fortner and AJ Shaw with you until 6 o'clock. Hour number 2, we're going to look back 25 years ago today. One of the biggest, saddest tragedies in sports and entertainment history happened just right down the road. We'll also revisit K-State's shot of, we're talking baseball, get into the NCAA tournament. That selection show is 11:30 on Monday. So take 30 minutes and watch the selection show. I don't remember. You may look, AJ, what channel that's on. I think it's ESPN or ESPN2, but I'm not exactly sure. But the selection show Monday at 11:30 a.m. We'll talk about later on.
ESPN2 and also ESPN Plus.
K-State shots getting in. All right, AJ, you wanted to talk Adrian Martinez. Look, I don't really watch the UFL. I've caught some plays here and there. Did watch Adrian the other day. I think it was 2 weekends ago. Play. He threw a really nice touchdown pass. I'll be honest, I've probably watched more WNBA than I have in a UFL. Plus, I was a little bit my feelings were hurt a little bit because they merged with the XFL, but they went with the other name. And I was hoping they would keep XFL. I think it's just a better name.
Well, he played a heck of a game a couple of weeks ago against the St. Louis Battlehawks. Who,
so we're talking about former K-State quarterback Adrian Martinez.
Yes, played a great game against St. Louis a couple of weeks ago. Who owns 50% of the Battlehawks, by the way, Mitch? Take a guess.
And we're talking St. Louis?
St. Louis Battlehawks.
So I'm going to guess Nelly.
No. You should know this, being a WWE fan.
Randy Orton?
No.
See, I'm going with St. Louis people.
The Rock.
Oh, well. He owns half of the league.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, he owns 50% of it.
I would imagine he owns half of all the teams.
Well, he doesn't own Birmingham, who Adrian's playing on. I don't think so.
I didn't know we had separate owners. I just thought.
Oh, wait, no, he does. I'm wrong. Never mind. Ignore what I just said.
I'm not sure I'd want to own a single UFL team.
Yeah, well, he owns pretty much everybody at this point because Fox Corporation owns him as well.
Okay.
Fox Corp. So, I mean, but he had a really nice game against St. Louis. Threw for 230 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and completed 64% of his passes. And then had a pretty good game against Houston last week. Threw 3 touchdowns and a pick, only 174 yards, but he had a big game against Memphis too, where he threw for 369. He's been playing really good lately, and it's good to see him as a former K-State guy getting that opportunity to shine.
Well, listen, when he became a Cat, the biggest criticism was, man, he throws too many interceptions. And first of all, facts. At Nebraska, he did. At K-State, he did a really solid job of taking care of the football. As a matter of fact, I don't think he threw an interception until like his 6th start or something like that.
It was funny because they didn't turn the ball over a lot in that 22 season. I believe as a team, I think they had 1 turnover for the first 5 games, and I think they didn't throw their first pick. And it was, I think, when Rubley came in, because Will got hurt, if you remember, in the TCU game.
Right.
After Adrian got hurt. I think that was when they threw the first pick. But you are correct. He was very good at protecting the ball. He's thrown 2 picks all year.
Yeah, 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And he's the UFL's leading rusher.
Yeah.
So, Adrian Martinez is still that dual-threat guy. But I love – my favorite part about this is that Adrian, now in his last 2 stops, because he did have obviously a cup of coffee. Really he didn't play in any games. It was just a preseason game or 2 with the Detroit Lions. Then he gets this opportunity to be a starting quarterback in the UFL. You're obviously going to take it as an undrafted free agent and keep your professional football career alive. Now he's going to go for a UFL championship here in a couple of weeks as the regular season is winding down. But I love that, over the last 2 stops that Adrian has made, he continues to be injury prone. He was at K-State, obviously, and that sucked for him. But he has quieted his critics when it comes to the interceptions. I don't have his K-State numbers pulled up, but he did an excellent job of taking care of the football. And my argument was, I was like, when Adrian played at Nebraska, his offensive line was horrible. Horrible. I mean, under pressure, he either had to get rid of that football or he's getting sacked all day.
Threw 1 pick. 1 pick at K-State.
Does it say there how many games he played in?
Let's see. 1,
I know,
2, 3,
obviously, the
4,
TCU game, the
5,
Baylor
6,
game, he didn't
7,
finish.
8, 9. He played in 10 games if you
10
count
games.
the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, and that was just, coming in for Will after it was getting ugly. And
he didn't even throw a pass. He only came in for 2 runs.
Yeah, because he ran. Yeah. I was there. I was at that Sugar Bowl. I jumped out of my chair. That's the only time during my media career where I jumped out of my chair.
Not on the long run by Deuce?
It was on that play.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, holy crap, we are up 10-0 on Alabama. And nobody's going to take that away from us. Except for Nick Saban, who did that in that quarter, in that second quarter. It got out of hand there pretty quickly.
But his last start at K-State, 24 for 36 for 329, 2 touchdowns and a pick against Texas, and he also ran the ball 14 times for 52 and a score. They still lost that game, but he kept him in it. especially because we talked about it the other day. They were down 31-10 at the half in that game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that one well. Because that was a very pivotal game. It was, the winner of that game is in pretty good control of their destiny for the Big 12 championship game. Mm-hmm. Texas won that game. Luckily, they lost to TCU that next week, which gave K-State's control of their own destiny right back to them.
Yes.
So that drama didn't last too long, and K-State took care of business the rest of the way, made it to a Big 12 championship. I think they won their last 4 games or something like that, and got to that Sugar Bowl 3 games. KU was one of them. That's all I care about, just beating KU.
I remember being on the airplane, coming back from Chicago. I went home for Thanksgiving, came back, and KU had made a bit of a run. I'm like, are we going to lose to KU? And then I'm like, wait a second, it's KU. We're going to beat them. And they ended up winning.
You talking about last year? Or 2 years ago?
No, this was 2 years ago when they came to Manhattan last.
Well, what broke that open was a third down and 10 at K-State's own 11 or something like that. And a little screen pass to Deuce, broke a tackle. Ends up being a 70-yard gain, and K-State took care of business the rest of the way. Let's take care of business with the rest of this first hour after this break. We'll come right back. You're listening to The Game. This has been a really rough month and a half for Tornado Alley with tornadoes. I mean, Iowa the other day just absolutely hammered by a tornado that affected, I think, maybe multiple tornadoes that affected 13 counties. It destroyed a town. In that town in Iowa, there is a video that's been going viral of a local television station talking to one of the victims of that tornado, and it's gone viral, and a company has responded. But here's the sound from that video.
I lost a lot, including my golf clubs. I had like $3,000 into that. I'd like to shout out TaylorMade and Titleist and Callaway. I really need new sets, or a new set. I lost it, and I just love golf.
I love the end of that.
Yes.
And I just love golf.
Golf is life to this guy.
For a guy that pretty much just lost everything, he's got a pretty good attitude. Which is, I give him credit for that, because I would have probably been, like, devastated, man.
I mean, it probably hadn't set in yet.
That's a possibility.
And it would at some point. But, man, when you got that opportunity, go get you some clubs, bud. And guess what? Callaway responded in just a few hours.
Wow.
They were able to get in contact with him, and they're going to send him some clubs. And it's funny because I got to thinking about this. Like, I saw the tweet because I looked it up. It was like, I think this is the first time ever I've seen a golf apparel or golf, equipment company tweet anything ever. Maybe if I was more of a golfer, I'd see more of that. I think that's the first time I've even heard the name Callaway in quite some time, but they've been around a long time.
I've heard it a little bit over the years.
Do you golf?
No. Oh, God, no.
What sport do you think you've played the most in your life?
Baseball or basketball?
You'd seem like a pickup basketball guy once in a while.
Yeah, although I haven't played in a few years, so I might be a little rusty.
Never went to the rec and played a little bit?
No, and I probably should more over the next few years. We'll see.
I did one time, and I got swatted by Jack Carapetchon, or however you say his last name. All right, hour number 2. Batcats, their chances of getting to the NCAA tournament. We'll look back at a very sad tragedy in the area 25 years ago today. Hour 2 next.
What? You want more? You got more. More of